I don't know if we'll be hopping on today or not. I might lay down and go to bed, get on tomorrow. But I want to review some of the ships they showed at CitizenCon, and I also want to look over the Reclaimer a little bit, try to find some old information on it, because we need to decide if we're going to keep a Reclaimer in the fleet. And I do like the Reclaimer quite a lot, to be honest. But if we get rid of this, we can get a second Carrack. So we lose our salvage capabilities, and we lose some other things, but I would like to have at least one. That way you could offer to have something, salvage related for an organization. It would be nice. But I'm not opposed to earning this in game either. If we have a second Carrack, similar crew, still has access to drones. We saw that building drones now are a thing, although we don't think that the Carrack's going to be able to do that. But both of these ships have drones, and if they're interchangeable at all, that would be an interesting concept to be able to build things out of like recycled material or anything like that. It's probably a stretch though. But this is when it got released. I still like the idea of having a fleet of these, to be honest, but realistically, I can only fly one. And if we have some other people that are willing to fly the ship and salvage and stuff, or we find other people that have salvage ships, that would be fine. Because right now, I think for the most part in the org, we need general players that are able to fight, pilot, engineer, medical, be just generally good, all well-rounded players. And then specializations, I think we're going to need people who want to run cargo, people that want to do salvage, um, people that want to do trading, things like that. But I don't think there's that many, because like you could say, yeah, we need mining, but from what we've gathered right now, ground mining is going to be a thing, and the Pioneer, they said, takes minerals from the ground and harvests them. So it might not be able to store those and turn them into SU crates. We don't know, but as long as it can gather minerals from the ground on its own, I don't think we'll necessarily need mining ships to just go and mine vast quantities of stuff. Like, it probably won't be the most efficient at it, but that's fine. Salvage wise, though, I'm split on this because the Reclaimer right now can build fuses, which is good, and it can build some tools. But the Pioneer is going to be a manufacturing ship that can produce vehicles and probably fuses and tools, I would assume. The Reclaimer, I still like the idea of it. It gives you a lot of flexibility in an org, so I'd like to keep one. Having two Carracks, though, just it'd make it to where you can have maybe a little bit more actually thinking on it, now that we have production ships, that might actually be like a 3D printer in the Carrack's bay, in that repair bay. And if it's able to do that, then there would have to be some way to store materials on it. It would be really nice if, because that Star Lancer that they just came out with is very, See if they have a page up for it yet. Huge payload. Construction variant. A medium-sized ship. I'm not a big fan of the Lancer. Like it doesn't look very good to me. Saying a medium-sized ship though, with large drones. 2 drone filler stations with 16 SU worth of capacity each on both sides. Two large drones. So I wonder what that means for the Carrack. What size Carrack drones do we have? I don't like the idea of just carrying this around for building purposes, though. I doubt the Carrack's going to have building capabilities, but they were already trying to build building capabilities onto the Galaxy last time we heard, unless that was like a slip of the tongue in that one showing that they did, and they were actually talking about this. But this is kind of more like an airplane to me anyway, and it looks like a mesh pesh of parts. Like when they showed this ship and stuff at the Citizen Con, and they pushed the Pioneer, it felt very much like a hurry up and make some money type of thing. I don't know if anyone else got that vibe, but back in the day, they took a bunch of Hornet parts and they built another ship and they sold it. And I thought that ship looked stupid, and everyone else likes the ship. And I feel like this is sort of the same thing. It has like the front of the Starfarer, the engines are different potentially, but it's like they took 2 different MISC ships and like crammed them together and then put some different engines on it. I don't know. Alright, unveiling, height and SCU stuff. Reinforced cargo bay, unmanned surveillor probe. Front floodlights and advanced density sense scanners. Jump capable. This stuff is a bit old. Same page. A manned cutter. Ooh. Yeah, I'm a little split on the Reclaimer. I still would like it. Like technically, we don't need 2 Carracks, I guess, but I still like the idea of having 2 Carracks. But if that is a printing bay, medical and repair facilities for crew. Capable of charting routes on the go. So to me, it's someone's going to be able to like pick your quantum routes and stuff while you're flying the ship and doing other things. Reinforced fuel tanks for long duration flight. Dedicated computer core room that allows it to put maximum processing power into jump charting operations. That's that lower bay, the lower area on the Carrack. Ursa rover and unmanned explorer drone pods. Titanium reinforced blast cover. Sealing off the ship quickly when danger strikes. When in blast mode, Carrack relies on extensive onboard sensors for flight. Interesting. Carrack's bridge is divided into 2 levels, which features extensive scanning, mapping, charting, sensor suites, multiple crew stations, and a large unobstructed canopy. 3 hand control seats, and the center being the pilot seat. The upper level includes 2 crew stations and a commander station. Starboard control station is also able to control the remote turret. I still think that upper size 5 should come back at a minimum to the ship. It's 3 swappable modules under the belly. Allows the Carrack to adapt to more specific job. Default modes on the Carrack are cargo modules, capable of carrying a bunch of cargo. Delinquent crafts and secret is a complex and costly endeavor, typically pursued when it can impact the balance of power. However, the Carrack, as the first Corvette-sized dedicated exploration ship in the Navy's inventory. I guess we could get a reclaimer to Carrick CCU and then melt that and then just set on it because we have a reclaimer buyback and we have we'd have the CCU buyback, but I don't necessarily want to dump $600 more on a Carrick. There's probably a lot of people that have a Carrick that could potentially use it and help out. So we don't really need to. I feel like it would be good though to have two. That'll be the end goal, I think, in game is to have two of these. Ship still looks weird. I remember when this thing came out and I thought it looked weird. This right here, a lot cooler, you know? A lot more badass. See these titanium things folding down. Looks like it's only the top side though. Surely they're going to put this on the top and bottom. Completely enclose this or leave a slit at the very end of it. I would say just have it to where like the metal, like a thick metal thing folds out like this, comes forward, left, right, and middle, and then just like, and then even below, and this clamps shut over the whole thing. But it means there'd be a weak spot in here, but in here's where the escape pods and stuff are anyway. Yeah, this older version had some spunk to it. Yeah, drone bay still there. See, but these are supposed to be like exploration drones. That's why I'm split because the reclaimer doesn't really help us with exploration. You know, and when it comes to salvage, like taking components and stuff out's gonna be good, but right now we can't take big components out. You'd have to scrape you'd have to crunch the ship and then get the components afterwards because you can't do anything with the size 3 component anymore. We're not going to be able to swap out parts like we used to. You're going to be able to store them for later. That's about it. Unless they get Maelstrom in and you can cut the part physically out. It's the only thing I can really figure. And we don't know if recycled material can be used to build new ships or not, which would be another important thing to note. Because it might be useful for Drake ships or something, but if it isn't useful for Carracks and stuff, or for like building new fighters or things, then it might not be that important. And these don't seem like they'll be very big drones either. They'll be very small. I think that's how they're going to justify having different drone sizes. Because you're not going to be able to fit every drone that you want in here because they're going to be too big. But if they change this room up Like you could easily have it to where like you put SU boxes or something in here, and then the drones take things out. Or if there's like a fill up station underneath the ship that pumps it up into here. I don't really know, but oh, that was the upper deck. Hmm. See, like if these antenna ended up being something that building drones could go and fill up at, that'd be kind of crazy. Or if there's a pod that's stuck on the bottom, like you had a pod that you could put on the bottom of the Carrack that had refill drone stations on it. That'd be interesting as well to just build a base because there has to be a military, like a military ship that built bases for them, unless they've just been floating around this whole time. Go to base, you pop on a building kit to the Carrack, and then you fly out, drop down, you load your cargo and stuff into the building kit, and then make it to where it can build like medium-sized buildings or something. It's funny because if I really think about it, my original plan would still make sense if you had two Liberators and two Carracks, because they both have one docking port, and it would make sense that both of those ships would work together. You'd have a crew of 8. You'd have plenty of ground vehicles and stuff for the Carrack. You'd have plenty of backup Pisces for the Carrack, plenty of things that you could drive around. And then with two Liberators, you would have, however many fighters that you could put on top of it. You have one Liberator with like 6 fighters, 6 arrows, and then one Liberator with a bunch of ground vehicles. I think about this. Redeemer on the front on both. Connie on the top on both. Or 2 Connie and a Valkyrie. You know, they could always make the cargo pods bigger. Extend these down, hold more cargo, and then just let it fold out from there. Maybe that's just me, though. Let me think about this liberator thing for a second. You need 4 people for 2 liberators. And that gives you 2 pads up top and then a small pad. Hmm. Such a nice ship. 8 people over 2 ships, but you could potentially have like 30 people in there. Basically, though, like if you have 6 medical Ursas on this, let's say you do 6 medical Ursas on the Carrack, each of those hold 4, I believe, at least with seats. So you'd have 24, and you have 16 jump seats on the Liberator. But you would have 24 in total on the Carrack. If you took everyone off both ships, you could drop down as a team of 24. Which would make more sense. I didn't realize they had a best in show for the Valkyrie in here. I wonder if I got that paint. Oh man, this picture looked good back in the day, I remember. And this looked good back in the day too. But you see this? This is old stuff, right? So you got your ground vehicle. This thing came out, chink, 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 chink. It would have been a way cooler ramp. This looked cool, old style. You know, this ship right here was pretty sweet looking. All right. But this cargo pod came off because these are supposed to detach. So this ship is supposed to be able to, like, it's like an Argo cargo. It detaches the pods, which is something that the other module ships aren't really built to do. The Galaxy, the I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. The Retaliator, all of those are they're individual modules that stay on the ship. But like the Argo Cargo and the Carrack both have detachable pods. And this right here, it looks like either cargo or some sort of manufacturing thing. But if the Carrack's able to drop off like a building module or something onto the ground, that would be pretty nuts. Drop this off. It has a couple of, like, one drone in it or something. So you drop 3 off, you have 3 drones and a bunch of building supplies. Oh, this had multiple. It had 4 legs on sliding gears. So this tells me that, like, if this had sliding gears like this, that they planned on it slamming on the ground, sliding down on the surface. It's like all of the anvil ships have that ability. Like all the anvil ships have gears and stuff that let them slam down on the ground, it seems like. Docking collar, rover garage, detachable modular pods. That's the key thing here. Class 4 turret, class 5 turret. Jump plotting antennae arms. Drone launchers. Oh, God. I like this ship a lot. Exploration deck, top deck, mid deck, sub deck. I wish we knew what the Carrack's pods were going to be. Look at that. Let's see if we can find the brochure for this. Ship information, wiki. Anvil Carrack is flyable now. Carrack is exploration. Discover the untapped knowledge of the cosmos and harness the innovation of eons with the Carrack's peerless deep space performance and navigation capabilities. Peerless. Discover untapped knowledge of the cosmos. Harness innovations. Peerless deep space performance. Matchless incomparable, matchless, discover the untapped knowledge of the cosmos, and harness innovation, which tells me research, which means blueprints of eons, with Carrick's unmatched deep space performance and navigation capabilities. That's why people defend the Carrick when it comes to the Odyssey. Unmatched deep space performance. So that means that the Odyssey could be, longer range, out for a long time space exploration, but the Carrick has to have the best performance. It has to be the best at finding where it's going, getting where it's going, not needing as much fuel. Carrick is discovery. Our universe is as diverse as it is vast. The Carrick brings you face to face with the extraordinary cultures and spine-tingling vistas of far-flung worlds. Carrick is adventure, making new discoveries and finding treasures in the farthest most reaches of space involves the occasional risk. See, this is where the Odyssey falls short for me. Making new discoveries and finding treasures in the farthest reaches of space involves the occasional risk. So while you could do it with an Odyssey, there's risk involved, and if the Odyssey's damaged, you're in the water. Your Carrick and crew will be ready for anything, though with an ironclad military pedigree, no exploit is too audacious. Be ready for anything. Ironclad military pedigree. This is why when people say that there shouldn't be a ship that can do everything, and I say the Carrick kind of needs to do everything because it's a military ship, that's kind of why right there. It's ironclad, it's military, it's battle tested to go find and come back in battlefields, in war zones. It's not a civilian Toyota. It's not, some long duration tourism ship. It's getting you there, getting the job done, and coming back. Carrick is home for all the wonder of the unknown offers. Even the most intrepid explorer needs a place to call their own. With the Carrick, your home travels with you everywhere and anywhere. Adventure calls, and Anvil Aerospace answers with the Carrick. Built to endure extreme conditions in both space and atmosphere, this self-sufficient explorer has more than earned its long-standing status as the go-to pathfinder for both military and civilian surface. Extreme conditions in both space and atmosphere. That is what seems very important for me. Because extreme conditions could mean a lot. Weather events, fighting, space debris. Unbrindled adventure. Carrick comes equipped with a unique C8 PC's Mini Explorer. That's a deal for scouting and reconnaissance. Available standalone with additional firepower over the base variant. Unlimited exploration. That seems a little bit off topic. Um, but this is talking about the Ursa rover, so all-terrain Ursa rover, industry standard in ground-based scouting, mapping, and discovery. That seems pretty good, but that new vehicle that's coming out looks pretty good for me as well. Variant. Become a trailblazing beacon in the darkness reaches of space with this limited edition livery. It celebrates the fearless crew, piloting Carracks bravely into the unknown. Multi-crew explorer. Anvil's vaunted Pathfinder is better than ever. The most complete multi-crew explorer on the civilian market lets you call every corner of the universe home. Exploration Mega Pack. Oh man, he's touching the gun? Crazy. Crazy, crazy. Now that's fast. Meteor shower? Oh, that's something that they haven't even talked about in this game, all right? We have asteroid belts and stuff like that, but you don't think that they're going to have meteor showers and shit going on some places? And you're going to go in the middle of that with a dinky, like, Aquila or something? I don't know. Even a Carrack could probably be rough. Get smacked by that rock. Oh.
My father always used to say I had wanderer's legs. We all wonder, what's out there? But for me, it was more than that.
You know, thinking on this, the Reclaimer is very nice. I very much like the idea of salvaging wreckage and stuff in space. But if the Pioneer can build ships and it can build a Vulture, you could send Vultures to salvage stuff. Maybe. Also, if one of our Carracks get destroyed, it would be nice to have another Carrack. Like, just in general, me playing the game by myself. Like, let's say I get a crew of 8 together, and we have the Carrack and the Liberator out there, and one of the Carracks go down and crash on a surface. Well, then we could take the Liberator, go get the other Carrack, and come back. You know. What was that? Bunch of space rocks, minerals, some sort of. See, that's a planet with like a giant tsunami going on. All right, like you think that you're gonna take a an Odyssey? Granted, you could, all right, but you think you're gonna take an Odyssey into a giant whirlpool storm and then risk getting its mining laser or something broke off? That's no bueno.
stranger in my own world. I set out to find my path.
You can hear the animals and shit down there in the bottom. What's crazy about this too is that you know, after the game's out for a long time and everybody tells everybody everything, you know, how much fun is it going to be to explore the game if you, like, you know, I guess maybe if you're a new person, there'd be so many planets and stuff that you couldn't possibly research everything. There'd be too much information.
Through all my travels, for all the trials of the unknown, I came to realize that there was really only one thing I'd been looking for. A place to call home.
This guy's like by himself. He has like one other dude on the ship with him. Rise above. Rise above. Reclaimer. Flyable video. I don't know if they made one. Yeah, they had one for the Reclaimer. Yeah. Where would I find that at? Reclaimer. Citizen. Reclaimer. Release video. I know they had a release video because it showed it with the claw. A long time ago.
Fastest movers. This is sort.
Nope. Where's surely Star Citizen has it like an official page. Okay, let's go here. Search. Reclaimer. Feels so important, man. My thing is, like, what is the benefit to the reclaimer, you know? Like, I get, like, it's supposed to have drones that are good at finding salvage, finding lost derelict ships and stuff out in space, you know? But, like, what's the big score for, like, a reclaimer? It has to be, like, finding a capital ship. You find an Idris or you find a Javelin or something. I guess the components and stuff is what it would be. Because if you can't get tier 3 and tier 4 components out of a ship, then the only way you can get them out is with salvage. You'd have to cut into the ship and get the parts out. Hmm. Any case, let's see. See if we can find anything about the Carrack in here. Nine years ago.
Wrap it up. Our major influences on this ship. I mean, it's an exploration ship, so
Yeah.
the major influence for this ship was actually the Prometheus ship. We took a lot of design cues and really kind of studied that ship to see the layout and how a exploration ship is kind of thought of.
Yeah, and how we can like bring it into the Star Citizen universe.
Right, exactly.
Kind of make it similar to the rest of the ships, size and scale.
So the major functions of this ship are for exploring, finding jump points, and different parts of the universe. Let me go through this exterior. All right. So in the front here we have a full glass canopy. Inside is a double-decker bridge, and the idea of this canopy is to provide minimal obstruction of your view in space. So basically, when you're the pilot in here, or you're in the mapping suite, and you are looking through the front windows, you have a very small frame that kind of tapers out very thin, so it's not blocking your view of what is going on out in outer space, and you're kind of feel like you're floating there, and you're actually not really in the ship. The whole idea is to feel like you're just kind of in space and experiencing that. But with the glass canopy, we also want to provide protection. So there's this garage door type shield that rolls out down tracks and covers up the majority of the glass. So if you're flying through a comet field or you're under attack, you have this extra armor that will come down and provide another layer of protection. And
Comet field.
on the nose here, you have a large antenna array, and they're all for kind of helping to find jump point openings and help move your way through space. Then moving back, you have a docking collar so that you can link up with other ships. You have information systems, you have intakes, you have escape doors, and it all starts to get detailed out. You're gonna have some drones, launching pads for your drones. In the back here, there's gonna be a smaller scouting ship that comes with the Carrack, and This is where you're gonna land the doors are gonna open up and you're gonna land your ship. Then you have these antenna arms that kind of extend out, and it's to help kind of stabilize your ship before you enter a jump point. So the antennas reach out and they kind of place you within the opening of the jump point so that you're entering it more in the center instead of, because once you get into these jump points, it's going to be a rough journey getting through to the end. And then on the ends here, on the wings, we got man turret on each side, and these are more for broadside attacks. So the ship's very long. If you're under attack, you know they're going to be attacking you mostly from the sides, and so those turrets are there for protection against that. On the bottom here, we have 3 modular pods that can be
Attack you
fitted as
mostly from the
science
sides.
stations, extra fuel tanks, potentially hold cargo, medical stations, and these are pods that detach from the ship. And then in the front here, there's going to be a ramp that comes down, and there's going to be a scientific rover in there for driving along the surface of new planets that you discover. And then in the back, we have 2 very large.
Such limited information in the very beginning. It was hard to kind of understand what the ship was doing, but as the project moved along, we were able to go to different departments within inside the studio and actually figure out what does what, how things work, and what needs to be in the bridge of a ship. So what would you want essentially inside of an exploration ship, right? You'd want, obviously since it's a much larger ship, we decided to have 3 pilots essentially. Since it's also an exploration ship and we want to make it a little bit different than the other ships by making the view kind of almost the focal point. What's interesting about these seats is that they go all the way back and then they rotate because they have a track. So you get on the seat and then it brings you out so you're completely suspended, and then it'll rotate out. So it should give you a pretty amazing unobstructed view. You'd be able to turn off the HUD, I assume on the glass and all sorts of things. We knew we wanted it to be double-decker, but how is it gonna work? Like the ship is big, but it's also not like, you know, like a house big. So how can we kind of make it industrial and functional and try to make the most out of our space? So we decided to go with some of these motifs where you don't see a lot of like bars and banisters, and trying to keep it as simple and as like unobstructed as possible. The view from the front of the ship, that's what's most important. Then I think what would be second was what we knew we had to have a mapping table, and how was the mapping table going to work? Did it just project up? Did it project from the top down? And that's ended up what we kind of went for, was that it kind of creates this volume in between the top and the bottom, and there'd be like some sort of display. So yeah, and then you have access to certain systems like ventilation, water, and sorts of things by panels like this. Like if I hide that, you can actually see some of these things inside the ship. Like let's say a certain part of the ship is getting damaged and you need to make some repairs, you can probably repair it from here, or at least monitor to see what's occurring. And then we decided at the pretty later on that the ship's, if it's exploring, you know, who knows what the environment's really gonna be like. So it might be quite a bumpy ride and there might not be seats enough for everybody in there. So we added these 2 kind of like flight attendant seats essentially. Yeah, so it's pretty much just designating like what goes on what floor and what makes an anvil ship. So to do that, we kind of just kept like a little bit harder angles on things that might be rounded, a little bit larger shapes, a little bit more industrial, but still cool looking and slightly simplified as not to distract from the main point of the ship, which is essentially the view. So we decided to keep the upstairs kind of like the meeting room, the mapping table, the little catwalk that you have here where you would be able to project separate information on the glass. And then on the bottom, you know, and at the very end, which is actually hidden right here, we have another monitor here that would be displaying all the information that maybe the main pilot sees. So everybody would actually know what's going on at what time by looking at this main monitor that sits in the back of the room. So you're never at a lack of any information. So you pretty much know what's happening at all times. And I'm sure as different mechanics of the game are implemented, these stations will adapt and change as well, maybe with eventually modular assets to help get more advanced and all sorts of stuff. And then you know, like little bench and stuff for repairs in case something occurred and damaged inside the ship, and that can retract. And we have storage as well. We pretty much have everything that you would need. And we ended up removing the, what was those Gurmuks? What are those things called?
Oh,
the
the
escape pods
escape pod.
/ beds,
Yeah.
you know, because they're one and the same. So we kicked those off the bridge just because there's a place to sleep, but the reason why we had them originally was because if the bridge is getting attacked, that's why you would want to get out as quickly as possible. I think it looks a lot nicer too, and becomes a little more functional, a little bit.
Crude oil, space milk, liquid oxygen, nitrogen, melted cheese.
Bit more homey because you want a separate place to sleep and to work and to do all these things. So I'm actually really excited to work on the rest of the ship and how each component comes together and works as like a separate piece.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out what we've been working on the Carrack, and I hope you enjoy it.
Lost Oklahoma Sooner Care? Healthcare.gov is here for you. With the new law, 4 out of 5 customers.
Flying this quarter, we discussed the concept phase and how the Planet Content team had a for its build.
Working on the Planet Tech, we have to our content is already.
Remains to be seen if that'll stop. We enter the shares, and since it's my the 382 is the arrival of a ship that's captured the imaginations of star citizens everywhere since it was first introduced. When adventure calls, Anvil answers, and since it's my favorite ship in the game, it's time to give you all one final tour before it makes its way into your hands. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a ship-shaped look at some of the most notable places within the vessel in a segment we're calling Room by Room, the Anvil Carrack. Starting on the subdeck, we enter the ship through the vehicle garage, where all Anvil owners store their ground-based vehicles like the Ursa Rover. Now, a fun feature found here is the stopping ramp for those who tend to drive up the ramp a bit faster than perhaps they should. It remains to be seen if that'll stop me from destroying the ship from within, simply trying to park or not. Now from the garage, we find our docking collar section that's designed for the future implementation of ship-to-ship docking, where it can hold EVA suits and an extendable trellis that will one day connect out with another ship and allow players to pass safely between the two. Beyond that section, we find ourselves in the 3 detachable cargo pods, each one capable of carrying an impressive volume of commodities. Take note of the double airlock doors that separate each one. These will be important in the future when players can drop a pod off and continue on towards another location without one. Behind the
That's the big deal right there. You can drop a pod off and then continue flying to other locations. So you fill up your cargo thing, you drop the cargo pod off, you go out and you do much more exploration. You go out with your ground vehicles, you just drop the ground vehicle pod off.
pods, we arrive in the armory, a new room and a throwback to the Carrack's history as a military vessel, complete with suit lockers, weapon racks, and all the equipment you might need before disembarking onto potentially hazardous or hostile territories. Moving up a level, we find ourselves on the habitation deck, and a place I'll probably experience most, the med bay. Now in the waiting room out here, we have some standard beds, office and utility areas off to the side, and a single medical bed that's a step up in capabilities from what you'll find on the Cutlass Red. Also on the habitation deck, you can't be a big ship in the Star Citizen universe without your mess hall. The rec room, where Anvil seems to have invented hard mode for billiards with a 6-sided table, and military-style crew quarters or billets, complete with all the amenities a person could need on extended voyages like bathrooms and showers and such. On our way to the bridge, we find the captain's quarters, full of many important books that make you seem learned to your crew, as well as a hideaway television so they don't actually see what you're really doing with your time. After that, we find ourselves where all the action happens on board the Carrack, with our multi-level bridge that spans both the 2nd and 3rd floors. Now down below you'll find the pilot and co-pilot stations, as well as a variety of server blades that will one day assist players with the processing of data that you collect while exploring the cosmos. Up above on the technical deck, we have the comms
Processing
and remote
of
gunner
data.
stations. Now down below you'll find the pilot and co-pilot stations, as well as a variety of server blades that will one day assist players with the processing of data that you collect while exploring the cosmos. Up above on the technical deck, we have the comms and remote gunner stations, our star map, and an alternate pilot station, providing greater visibility at reduced instrumentation. Also, you gotta stand there the whole time, and I don't trust anyone with a standing desk as a rule of thumb. I'm very, very pro chairs. From the bridge, we move past a couple more escape pods into the repair room, where you'll be able to service and maintain your various ship components on the extended voyages a ship like the Carrack is intended for. And then the drone room, with its 2 drones. From the bridge, we move past a couple more escape pods into the repair room, where you'll be able to service and maintain your various ship components on the extended voyages a ship like
Repair room. Ship components. I'm wondering if that means now, are they talking about fuses? Repair and maintain your fuses?
the Carrack is intended for. And then the drone room, with its 2 drone operator seats and the release mechanism that will jettison them into space without venting the entire room. Also on the technical deck, we find our ship hangar, capable of launching the included Anvil Pisces or anything else you find will fit. And we're not going to take that discovery away from you. If you can get it in there and close the doors above it, have at it, fellow space person. Past the hangars, we find access to the Carrack's side turrets. Now, one of the things we discovered during our CitizenCon demo was how difficult it was to get onto your targets. So we've actually extended the distance the turrets extend out from the ship, improving the angles you can work with. At the rear of the ship, we find engineering, which, like the bridge at the fore, extends between the technical deck and the habitation below it. It's here you'll find many of the ship's components like shield generators, power plants, and the like. Finally, taking one of the Carrack's many lifts or ladders up to the very top brings us to the cartography deck, which will, in the future, showcase the star system you're currently presiding in and allow an operator to plot courses and the like with a much more detailed map than you'd normally see on other ships. And for those that just need to stretch their legs, an EVA airlock that lets you escape out into space at the top of the ship, and I'm sure won't become a popular ingress target for wannabe raiders in the future. And since we're outside at this point, let's go ahead and take one more look at the Carrack exterior while we're here. Now, if you'd like to learn more about the progression of the Carrack's exterior, I'd encourage you to check out both the CitizenCon Ship Talk panel as well as concept artist Sarah McCullough's recent appearance on Star Citizen Live to find out more. It's a good-looking ship, if I do say so myself. I'm really glad it's my favorite. So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that game development is exponential, and where it would once take an entire team months to create a single planet, 2 devs can now create most of 3 moons in a matter of weeks. And that the Anvil Carrack is love, the Anvil Carrack is life, the Anvil Carrack is coming in Alpha 382, and if it isn't already by the time this airs, don't forget you can check it out on the PTU early when it arrives. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee.
And if it ain't you, we gon' know. Yeah, we gon' know.
Welcome, you finally made it for the last show of 2018. Joining us on the show this week, a very special show this week, is none other than my partner in crime, the yin to my yang, the red to my any other color whatsoever, John Crew. John, how you doing, man?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. That was quite an intro.
Actually, I forgot, I was going to call you Overlord of the Vehicle Verse. Was that what we...
Something terrible like that.
Overlord of the Vehicle Verse, John Crew. How you been, John?
I'm good. It's been off camera for a few days. Now we're back on.
Jared was younger back then.
I called you for calling all devs in like almost 4 weeks at this point. And I mean, you're done. In fact, because we asked so much of you for our anniversary promotion, if you haven't seen the anniversary promotions, there are 8 roundtable discussions that are available now on YouTube, talking about all kinds of big free fly during the...
I feel sorry for anyone that's going to transcribe this, because it's going to come thick and fast.
Yeah, I just went... So you're going to have to transcribe that. We're going to talk about all the ships outstanding in the pipeline. Now, when I say all the ships, let's qualify that a little bit before we get going. There are currently 136 ships in various states of being in the stars. The giants are in the same state as they're... Talk about the whole sea. Talk about this or talk about a bunch of things out of the way for it.
Spin, and you start from scratch again. You keep because base, and also the tail section for putting components in. And then after that, obviously making that pod wider has knock-ons to the exterior, and we're not 100% locked down on what changes we're going to do to the exterior, but we're going to fix the interior first and then sit down and review what changes we can do to the exterior in the time. And I would like to get out at the same time is for the components were cut out.
Right.
They're not the real components put in there, but they are one.
Alright. So now we get to go look at the new stuff here in a second. I'll just go ahead and restart the stream and we'll start over. I think I got a good idea what I want to do with the reclaimer. I'll buy a CCU to a Carrack and sit on it for a little bit.